I'm Rick Harrison, and this is my pawn shop. I work here with my old man and my son, Big Hoss.
I'm Rick Harrison, and this is my pawn shop. 12 words. That's all it took to become internet scripture. For a brief, glorious moment in the early 2000s, Rick Harrison wasn't just a guy in a polo shirt. He was the face of blue-collar capitalism, a bald oracle standing behind a glass display case preaching the gospel of lowball offers and obscure trivia.
Like Daniel Boone is what I look like.
You look more like Fred Flintstone, son.
He wasn't just running a pawn shop, he was educating the masses by tricking people into selling family heirlooms for $30 and a handshake. And we loved it. Millions tuned in weekly to see Rick haggle over Civil War coins, samurai swords, and maybe a signed Elvis poster. Pawn Stars exploded on the History Channel.
See the bat signal.
Definitely big enough, huh?
This thing is awesome.
Which had apparently given up on history and said, screw it, let's do pawn shops and alligators. In 2011, the show hit a peak of 7 million viewers per episode. Rick was on late-night talk shows. He wrote a best-selling book. He became the History Channel's golden goose, and somehow made Nevada's sketchiest-looking store feel like the Smithsonian with worse lighting. He was funny, he was sharp, and more importantly, he always had a guy. But empires built on dusty antiques don't last forever.
You're a hair and makeup person who's got a really cool old Barbie doll, so maybe I can make a deal and actually see the show.
Because while Rick was buying artifacts, he was slowly becoming one. What started as authentic, weirdly educational television would soon become a scripted museum of itself.
Is that the original box?
That's the original box, and it's signed by Ruth Handler, the creator of Barbie.
With Rick stuck inside as the main exhibit. Before the memes, before the lawsuits, before the 7 million people watching him haggle over muskets and fake Rolexes. Rick Harrison was just another dropout kid in Vegas with a knack for spotting desperation. Born in 1965 in North Carolina, Rick moved to Las Vegas as a teenager where his dad, the old man, opened a secondhand store. Rick ditched school early and dove into the resale hustle, reportedly making his first profit selling fake designer bags. Because nothing says bright future like Gucci spelled with 2 O's. In 1989, the father-son duo leveled up. They secured a pawn license and opened the now infamous gold and silver pawn shop. No cameras, no expert cameos, just 2 guys buying and selling whatever Las Vegas had left over at 3 a.m.
She should actually smell like crayon.
And smell it.
Guitars, guns, and grief. But Rick had bigger dreams. He wasn't just trying to flip junk. He wanted to flip the whole image of pawn shops. For 20 years, he pitched the concept of a pawn reality show. Everyone said no, because again, pawn shops. Until 2009, when the History Channel, midway through its identity crisis, finally said yes, and Pawn Stars was born. The formula?
Private Army or something?
Every home should have one.
Simple. People bring in old stuff. Rick lowballs them. Someone named Chumlee misunderstands the assignment, and history is magically injected into the process via one-line factoids that Rick definitely didn't Google 5 minutes earlier. It was Antiques Roadshow, but with tattoos and dad jokes. And it worked, like really worked.
This gun was designed to inflict major damage. You wouldn't want to be in the front of this thing.
By 2011, Pawn Stars was History Channel's #1 show. Rick had a New York Times bestseller, and the shop was a full-blown tourist trap. They even franchised the brand into spin-offs: Counting Cars, American Restoration, Cajun Pawn Stars. If it had a tool belt and a regional accent, it got a show. Rick Harrison had gone from fake bag dealer to pop culture icon.
This is what I called you about.
All right, it's a Buick Regal with a paint job.
But here's the thing about icons. They don't stay shiny forever. At first, it was subtle. A weird vibe here, a questionable quote there. But soon, the squeaky clean myth of Rick Harrison, the lovable everyman of history-flavored capitalism, began to fray at the edges. And what started as a few cracks quickly turned into a full-blown collapse. Exhibit A. The first public warning signs came in 2012. A customer entered the gold and silver pawn shop, armed, allegedly caused a scene, and was then physically removed by Rick and the old man. The customer claimed they assaulted him and sued for damages. The Harrisons denied it, and Corey chimed in, saying he would have handled it the same way. Cool, just your average episode of Law & Order, Pawn Unit.
He was 90 years old.
He's an interesting guy. I always loved KFC. I was like raised on the stuff.
But it wasn't isolated. That same year, Rick was hit with 2 more lawsuits. First by Wayne Jeffries, his former promoter, who claimed he was cheated out of compensation after helping launch the show. Then a talent agency sued for $5 million after the cast allegedly ditched them for another firm. Suddenly, the pawn business looked less like a quirky family shop and more like a backstage brawl at a reality TV convention.
Female people or?
Yeah, it was never intended to shoot anything.
Okay.
This thing is awesome.
Exhibit B. Around this time, whispers started swirling, not about Rick's offers, but about the authenticity of the show itself. Multiple producers admitted it. Interactions were scripted, deals prearranged, historical facts fed to Rick by researchers. The walk-ins weren't random.
Antique guns that were used in TV shows, and Magnum PI was huge in the 80s.
They were often invited in advance, their items chosen for maximum wow factor. So when Rick squinted at a 19th century revolver and said, I've never seen one of these before, it wasn't discovery, it was acting. Pawn Stars wasn't documenting real life. It was a pawn-themed sitcom with lighting and B-roll. The infamous line, "You never know what's gonna walk through that door," became ironic, because Rick definitely knew. He probably signed the release form. Even the actual store became more tourist trap than business. People weren't coming to sell, they were coming to take selfies, hoping Chumlee would walk by holding a sword.
Right here? Right there.
Pawn Stars had become what every reality show eventually becomes, a wax figure of itself, but the public still tolerated it. We don't ask reality TV to be real, we just ask it to pretend well. Then Rick opened his mouth on CNN. Exhibit C. In 2015, Rick decided to pivot from pawn expert to political pundit. He appeared on CNN and voiced concerns about political correctness and transgender people using public restrooms, suggesting not subtly that it could be dangerous. It was a classic move from the boomer guide to losing a fan base in under 60 seconds. The backlash was immediate. Outlets like The Advocate and MSNBC slammed his comments as transphobic. Fans were stunned. Memes turned vicious. One tweet said, "Rick Harrison out here buying antique discrimination like it's 1843. Suddenly, Rick wasn't just a quirky TV dad anymore. He was another grumpy millionaire with too many opinions and not enough awareness. It shattered his wholesome image. Because when you build your brand on being likable and non-threatening, there's no faster way to burn it down than by yelling about bathrooms on live TV. Exhibit D. Then came 2016, and Rick's comic relief sidekick, Austin Chumlee Russell,
the best in the shop with a sword.
And you trust him with this?
Not really.
decided to take the phrase pawned off the rails literally. After a police raid, Chumlee was found with meth, marijuana, Xanax, and an arsenal of unregistered firearms. He pleaded guilty to weapons and drug charges. Rick wasn't implicated, but it didn't matter. Chumlee was the show. His goofy antics were the cotton candy that made Rick's lowballing go down easier. Now, that candy was laced with Class A felonies. Pawn Stars was no longer feel-good family content. It was starting to feel like a documentary on enabling. Exhibit E. In 2018, the heart of the show stopped beating. Literally. Richard Harrison, the old man, passed away after battling Parkinson's. Fans mourned. The shop lost its foundation, and the show lost its most honest voice.
Better be, Corey. Right now, get your ass back to work.
The guy who could glare someone into lowering their asking price by $200. But the grief didn't bring the family closer. In 2022, Rick's own mother sued him, accusing him of mishandling the family trust and cheating her out of assets. It was messy, ugly, and 100% not part of the script. Rick had gone from lovable pawn dad to guy getting sued by his actual mom. It was like Succession, if everyone dressed like they worked at a Bass Pro Shop. Exhibit F. As if that wasn't enough, 2024 brought a devastating blow. Rick's son Adam died of a drug overdose. Rick addressed it publicly, and fans offered sympathy. It was a rare moment of real vulnerability in a career built on performance. But even that moment was hijacked by the internet. TikToks and YouTube shorts falsely claimed Rick had been arrested and sentenced to life in prison. It went so viral, fact checkers had to intervene to confirm, no, Rick is not in jail. Yes, Pawn Stars is still on TV. No, you shouldn't believe a video with Comic Sans subtitles and trap music. By this point, Rick's mythos was broken. No longer a shrewd businessman. No longer a harmless TV character, just another celebrity caught between their own ego, the machine they built, and a very online public waiting to turn your tragedy into a punchline. Rick Harrison had pawned his authenticity. And what he got in return? A declining show, a fractured family, and a spot in meme purgatory that's somewhere between Florida Man and Guy Fieri. Let's get one thing straight. Pawn Stars is technically still on the air, but so is The Simpsons, and we all know the difference between still airing and still relevant. The truth is, Pawn Stars today is less a TV show and more a vending machine that only serves lukewarm reruns. It's the entertainment equivalent of going to a diner at 2 a.m. and realizing the jukebox only plays Nickelback. The format hasn't just gotten stale, it's fossilized. Every episode now feels like a rerun of a rerun of a rerun. Someone walks in with a thing. Rick pretends it's interesting. An expert magically appears from the back like a summoned Pokemon. They explain the item in detail. Rick lowballs the customer. The customer is shocked. Rick shrugs. Deal or no deal? Repeat. There's no tension, no risk, no real emotion.
Okay, if you change your mind, give me a call, but offer stands for now.
Fair enough.
It's TV comfort food for people who don't like surprises. And Rick, he's visibly checked out. He delivers every line with the enthusiasm of a man waiting for his Uber Eats order to arrive. His once iconic smirk now feels like it's powered by muscle memory and nicotine patches. Even the educational angle is a joke. The history in History Channel has been reduced to Rick mumbling a Wikipedia summary while B-roll of old coins plays. It's like if Drunk History lost the jokes and just kept the boredom. The show's been spun off, franchised, and squeezed dry. From Cajun Pawn Stars to Pawn Stars Do America, every attempt to revive the brand has felt like watching someone put jumper cables on a dying car.
Boss, no, you ain't. What do you want to listen to? Get it back on the ground and take me home.
That no one's driving anymore. Meanwhile, the internet has turned Pawn Stars into its own genre of parody. Memes mock its predictability. TikToks exaggerate the lowballing. And the legendary Rick Harrison copy pasta has become a modern gospel of ironic reverence. I'm Rick Harrison, and this is my pawn shop. I work here with my old man and my son Big Hoss. Everything in here has a story. One thing I've learned after 21 seasons, you never know what's going to walk through that door. We do know now, Rick. It's disappointment, and maybe a slightly racist novelty item from 1943. The shop didn't just stop being interesting, it stopped pretending it was real. Rick Harrison was never supposed to be famous. He didn't act, he didn't sing, he didn't invent anything. He just stood in a pawn shop and told people their grandpa's war medals were worth less than a Domino's pizza. And somehow, we made him a star.
Believe that the suit should be worth $40,000 to $50,000.
Pawn Stars worked because it sold us a fantasy, that history could walk through the front door, and that Rick, part businessman, part historian, part sitcom dad, would be there to receive it with a smirk and a low offer. But the fantasy wore thin, the family charm cracked, the lowballing got old. And the pawn shop that once felt like a stage for untold stories became a backdrop for awkward silences, lawsuits, and Wikipedia-level trivia. Rick didn't crash and burn, he faded. Into reruns, into parody, into memehood. He became a brand, then a blueprint, then a punchline. So, can it be saved? Could Pawn Stars evolve? Could Rick reclaim authenticity in a world that's moved on from scripted reality?
Fire.
Maybe, but not without trading in some baggage. And we all know how Rick feels about paying full price. Before you go, dig through your attic looking for lost Confederate currency, do us a favor. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell like you're haggling for airtime. And tell us in the comments, who should we expose next? Should we finally confront Mr. Beast's philanthropic Hunger Games, unpack Dr. Phil's therapy industrial complex, or do a full psychological profile on Guy Fieri's sunglasses? Let us know, because this pawn shop is officially closed. Best we can do.